Hello everyone. I wanted to show you an interesting position, like an endgame puzzle, and also I wanted to talk a little bit about it. So it is white to move. There is no further text, so I'm not going to tell you, are you trying to win? Are you trying to draw? It's up to you to figure it out. Okay, I hope you pause the video and try to solve it. And now let's talk about it. So as I said, it's right to move, and if we think a little bit, we can conclude that if we manage to reach the e3 square, we will win the game. So let's see the sample line. King e5, king h2, king e4, king g2, king e3, and voila! We reached the e3 square. The black king needs to step away. We pick up the pawn and we will promote our guy because there is no way of stopping it. But let's go back to the initial position. So the previous line shows that black should not capture the h2 pawn. Instead, he should go for a race, picking up our f2 pawn and promoting his guy while we promote our guy. And at this point, you need to calculate how many moves does each side needs, or you can just count. It's not too hard. And then you need to think about another problem. So the thing is, when we are trying to reach e3 square, because that's necessary in case black captures on h2, we need to be aware of the fact that there are several ways to reach that square and they require the same number of moves. So what am I talking about? So you need 3 moves to reach the e3 square with the white king. But let me ask you a question. In how many ways can white king get to the e3 square in 3 moves? Take some time, pause the video and try to answer the question. Alright, so let's count and show all the possible ways. So route number 1 is this one. 3 moves getting to e3. Route number 2 is slightly different. Route number 3 is completely different. And then we have route number 4, a minor variation. Route number 5, route route number 6, and route number 7. So there are 7 different ways to reach e3 in 3 moves with our king. And this is very important. Sometimes it doesn't matter because, for example, if black decides to capture the pawn, our choice of route doesn't matter. We just get to e3 and we win the game. But if black doesn't capture the pawn, if he goes for the race, then our choice of a route is very important. So let's analyze the first step of our king and its upsides and downsides. So let's talk about the f5 square. What if we start our journey to e3 through this square? Well, there is one thing that you should immediately spot, and that is that this pawn, when it queens, will give us a check. And then you need to count the tempi. Is it important or not? We'll see later. But that's the feature. Stepping on f5 allows eventual queening with check. So it's a big deal. It wins the whole tempo. And tempo in pawn endgames is important. Each tempo counts. Let's talk about the e5 square. Can you see the drawback of this square? So I will show you. The drawback is that when we queen our pawn and black queens his pawn, there is a skewer. If it is black's move, he will pick up our queen on h8. So this square is not so optimal as well. And then there is the d5 square, and if we go there, I don't see any tricks for black. But let's check all the lines one by one. So first we will go to the f5 square. So I mentioned the problem for this square is that black can queen with check, and in this position it perfectly fits the problem. I mean, the position perfectly fits the problem because exactly in this position black gives check, and it's just one tempo that decides the game. And even though we have the h-pawn with queen f8, he cuts our king off and black even wins. So that just proves that not in terms of ideas but also in terms of variations, f5 is not a good square here. Let's check king e5. So of course, if black captures the pawn, then it's all good. But he will go for this race, and let's see. I told you there will be a skewer, and exactly again, it's all about one tempo. Skewer happens, and game over. We lose. So yeah, two unfortunate squares, e5 and f5, and then we determine that the d5 must be the square. And if black captures the pawn, we get to e3. We know that already. And if he goes for our pawn, the race ensues. But now, as you might have guessed, I told you there are no tactics that will help black win the game. And we managed to secure a draw. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you learned something. Maybe you already knew it, but this feature of pawn endgames, when the king has a choice of getting to some destination through different routes, which all require the same number of steps, but through different squares, is very important, because often this can win you or lose you the game. And I saw this many times in practical play. Even I make these mistakes sometimes, but other players, they make them in abundance. And also, knowing these patterns, that if we step on a diagonal where our queen will appear, then there is a skewer possibility. If we step on a file where the opposing pawn promotes, there will be a promotion with check. Sometimes they don't matter because we are so far ahead of in time that we can even do that, or we must do that for some other reason. But often these are the little details that decide the outcome of the pawn endgame. Alright, thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.